Hi there, my name is Brent and I work for agriculture in the classroom. Today we are going to be reading the book Blossom's Big Job. It's about a little bee who had a lot of patience and worked really hard and things paid off for her. This book is dedicated to all the beekeepers who work with the bees to help grow our fruits and veggies. So thank you very much to all the beekeepers out there. All right. Here we go. It is early in the summer season as Harold's bee farm and beautiful flowers have begun to bloom. As a beekeeper, Harold is very busy inspecting his beehives. It is a very special day for the bees inside the hives. Inside the hive, Blossom, a hard-working honeybee, wakes up and is excited to start her day. Today is the day the queen bee will be assigning their jobs. Blossom jumps out of her bed and hurries to get ready. She doesn't want to be late to meet the queen. Blossom joins her friends on their way to the queen's room. "What kind of flower do you want to pollinate, Daisy?" Blossom asks. "I want to help grow a big apple tree with the pollen I collect," Daisy responds. "What about you?" "I don't know," says Blossom, "but I want my flower to grow into a big fruit." As all the bees buzz around the queen, she began to call out their names and their assigned jobs. "Buttercup," the queen exclaims, "you will be pollinating the yellow flowers that grow in the middle of the farm. Beatrice, you will be pollinating the white flowers that grow alongside the yellow flowers. Daisy, you will be pollinating the flowers on the big tree. For you, Blossom, I have a very special job," says the queen. "I want you to pollinate the orange flowers on the far side of the farm." Blossom is in disbelief. But queen, my friends are working together in the middle of the farm. I will be working alone. Why can't I work near them?" "You'll see," the queen responds. Blossom watches as her friends unfold their wings and eagerly depart for the middle of the farm. She is sad that her friends will not be working near her, but Blossom still wants to work hard to grow a big fruit. Unfolding her wings, she flies off, determined to pollinate her own flowers. Landing on one of the bright orange flowers, she sticks her tongue into the flower to collect the nectar, and collects the pollen with the basket on her legs. Once she collects all the nectar and pollen that she can from one flower, she flies to another flower and repeats the process. Each time she stops at a new flower, Blossom leaves behind some pollen from the other flowers she had visited. Once her honey stomach for storing nectar is full, Blossom flies back to the hive to share her nectar with her friends. They pass the nectar from bee to bee and then place it in the honeycomb. Once it is in the honeycomb, they all work together to fan the nectar with their wings until it becomes honey. After this, Blossom goes to bed, satisfied that she had worked hard to make food for the hive and help grow the fruits. Each day, Blossom and her friends work hard to collect nectar and to pollinate the flowers. After many weeks of pollination, Blossom's friends had pollinated their flowers so much that they had grown into beautiful and colorful fruits. Buttercup's yellow flowers had grown into bright red tomatoes. Beatrice's white flowers had grown into juicy strawberries. And Daisy's white and pink flowers in the tree had grown into plump, round apples. But Blossom's orange flowers had not changed at all. Even though Blossom was working extremely hard to pollinate her flowers, they still wouldn't grow into fruit. Disappointed and lonely, Blossom watches her friends from afar as they celebrate around their fully grown fruits. Why haven't my orange flowers grown into fruit yet? She asks herself. Blossom decides to fly back to the hive to ask the queen for advice. Queen, all of my friends' flowers have matured into fruits, but mine still haven't grown. Why is that? Is there something I can do? She asks. Absolutely nothing, replies the queen. You just have to be patient and keep working hard. Blossom continued to work hard, day after day, and each day she worked harder than the last. She woke up earlier than the rest of the bees, and was still working after all the other bees had gone to bed. She was determined to make her flowers mature into fruit, no matter what. Before she went back to the hive each day, she made sure that every single one of her flowers were perfectly pollinated. One day, Blossom was awakened by the sound of a large commotion outside the hive. Rubbing her eyes, she walks to the edge of the hive and sees a large group of bees gathering outside. Why is everyone gathering outside? Blossom asks. See for yourself, smiles Daisy. Pushing past all the other bees, Blossom pokes her head through the crowd and gasps. On the far side of the farm, her flowers were nowhere to be found. Instead, huge orange pumpkins stood on the ground where her flowers used to be. There were dozens of them. Squealing in delight, she jumps out of the hive and flies to her pumpkins, with her friends following her. These pumpkins are humongous. Great job, Blossom, exclaims Daisy. Thanks, Daisy, responds Blossom. Oh, I must go tell the queen. Blossom flies back into the hive to see the queen and tell her what had happened. I knew you could do it, says the queen. She looked very proud. You just had to keep working hard. That's why I picked you for this job, Blossom. I knew you would continue working hard until your pumpkins bloomed. Blossom blushes. Thank you for believing in me, Queen. Later that day, Blossom and her friends were all given new jobs to pollinate more flowers in a different part of the farm. Together, they all flew out of the hive, delighted to be able to help grow new fruits all across the farm. And that is the end of the story. On the final page here, there's a little bit more information about bees. It's called The Buzz About Bees. So I'm just going to read a couple of facts that are written at the end of this book. So number 1 is nectar is a sugar-rich liquid produced by plants and is found in their flowers and blossoms. Bees collect nectar and make it into honey. So nectar is the sugar-rich liquid that bees turn into the delicious honey that we enjoy. Number 2 is while collecting the nectar, bees transfer pollen, which is a powdery substance, from male flowers to female flowers. And this is called pollination, a task that is vital to the survival of agriculture. In fact, 1/3 of our global food supply is pollinated by bees. That's crazy. 1/3 of all of the food in our entire planet is pollinated by bees. So thank you very much, bees, for all of the awesome food you guys give us. Number 3 is bees have 2 stomachs. So one stomach for eating and another special stomach is called the honey stomach for storing nectar collected from flowers so that they can carry the nectar back to their hive, which is pretty cool. They have 2 different stomachs, whereas humans only have 1 stomach. Number 4 is a single bee worker produces about 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey in their entire lifetime, which is 5 to 6 weeks. So in 5 to 6 weeks, one bee will make 1/12 of a teaspoon. So it takes 12 bees to make just 1 teaspoon. And that's not a lot of honey either. So it takes a lot of bees to make the honey we need. Number 5, it takes 22,700 bees to fill a single jar of honey. So if you think about a jar of honey, takes 22,700 bees to fill that jar. A single jar of honey you buy in a store requires 1 million flower visits. So 22,000 bees and 1 million visits to different flowers to make one jar of honey. Number 6, a hive or colony has only one queen bee and up to 60,000 bees, 2,000 of which are drones and the rest are worker bees. So most of them are worker bees. Male bees are called drones and female bees are called workers. So most of these bees are worker bees, which are female bees. And number 7, bees fly about 88,500 kilometers to make just 1 pound of honey. 2.2 times around the world. That's crazy. So for just 1 pound of honey, you think about a tiny little jar of 1 pound of honey, they go around the world, the entire planet, 2.2 times. So bees work very, very hard to get our honey. Number 8, bees are fabulous flyers. They fly at a speed of about 25 kilometers per hour and beat their wings 200 times per second. So if you were just to count, you'd go 1, 2, 3. Every time you count 1 second, they have flapped their wings 200 times. Bees are pretty awesome. Number 9, honeybees communicate by performing their waggle dance. So when the worker returns to the hive, it moves in a figure 8 and waggles its body to indicate the direction of a new food source. So these bees talk by dancing with one another. That's pretty cool. And finally, number 10, we can all do our part to support bees by planting flowers and herbs rich in nectar, such as lavender, forget-me-nots, bluebells, chives, onions, lemon balm, mints, and fruit trees. So the more flowers and the more fruits that we can plant, and the different flowers we can plant, then we can get more bees and more honey and more pollinating. So you can do your part by planting flowers in your own garden. Okay, that's everything for today. Thank you very much for listening to my story, and I hope that I can read another one soon. All right, bye-bye.